Hey everybody, John here again. Alright, so we're at the point where we're going to install the GPS tracker. But I want to go over some of the options it has, because I obviously didn't explain myself too well in the first video. They're nifty little ideas. I don't know if that people with regular cars really need them. Unless of course you want to track your kids when they take the car out. And there's a lot of little things you can do with this. You can set a speed limit on it so that if the vehicle goes over a certain speed, whether it's 100 kilometers or 70 miles an hour or something like that, it'll send you a text message. It can also have a geofence, which means the car is allowed to travel in a certain area, and if it goes outside that area, it sends you a text message. There's also other things like low fuel warning. If the alarm is sounded, it'll send you a text message. If the power is cut to the unit, don't forget this has a battery backup, it will send you a text message. So there's a good few things that it'll do besides track your vehicle. Now of course one of the reasons I was really interested in getting it is because you could actually kill the ignition on your vehicle if it does get stolen. Now I did mention that there was that safety feature of I'm not sure if it's 20 kilometers or 20 miles an hour, but regardless, you would have to be going a lot slower than highway speeds for the unit to shut the vehicle off, because I mean, imagine getting your vehicle shut off at 70 miles an hour or 110 kilometers. So I want to go over this, and as I start ripping the dash apart, because I'm going to show you the installation, but I figured there's no sense in going into showing you how to take the panel off and this, that, and the other thing, because your car is not going to be like my Ford van. You might want to put in a Honda or a Hyundai or a Chrysler product. It's just not going to be the same as this, so it'd be just wasting my time and your time for you to watch that. But I did want to take this moment right at the beginning to tell you, and you'll want to watch to the very end, because there is one thing you have to be very careful with when installing this unit, and I'm going to tell you about it at the end. Alright, so without further ado, let's take a look at the installation, and I did find something quite surprising. You'll like this. Okay, so this is the underneath of my dash, and I found some wires here, right here, that I didn't know what they were for, and then I also found this under there, and that end had also these wire tied to it. As you can see, they're like antenna clip-on wires. So I said, ooh, this looks very interesting. Now of course I came to the firm conclusion that there was a GPS unit already installed here, and when I further investigated it, now you'll have to excuse the dust because I'm not one of those people that washes my dash off every 2 days. But I'm going to show you this. Alright, so I pulled that panel off because I figured this would be a good place to put the antennas. And looky what I found. I found a GSM antenna right here. And what behold is this but a GPS antenna? Huh. So it looks like at one time this vehicle was equipped with one. Now unfortunately, those ends on those antennas, for those antenna leads down here at the bottom underneath the dash, I mean to say, they don't fit the unit. So I'm gonna have to run my own wires through. So this should fare to be extremely interesting. I'll probably have to pull the front of the dash off and everything. But you know, it's to be expected that I'll have to do this. But there's a little coinky dink, huh? Okay, so let's get on with the installation. Alright, some of the tools you're going to need for this. Excuse a bit of the shakiness because I am holding the camera up. You're going to need a 12-volt probe. Alright, you're going to need a wire stripper. Alright, now these are handy because you can actually put them between a full set of wire and just open it and tack your wire onto it without cutting the wire. which is very handy. And of course you'll need wire cutters. Another things you might need are heat shrink tubing, electrical tape. I do have some electrical tape. Now, I'm not a big proponent on using electrical tape, especially when working on your electrical system in your car. But since this isn't a dry, this is a dry environment, I see that I don't see the reason why we're going to need solder, dielectric grease, and we might even get away with just using electrical tape on connections like that, where we're just going to spread the wire. We could just put some electrical tape up there and connect it back together. Now, while we're under here, I also want to show you that these are the ignition wires leading into the steering column, and you can see the bigger ones. Well, those are the ones that are going to be used for your cutting your ignition while the car is driving, and it looks like they've already been cut into at one point or another. At least the red one and the green with a black strip. I'll investigate that further, and we'll see what we need to do with that. But first off, for the unit, you need to find yourself a ground for your tester, your probe. Now, I did have it hooked up to here, something here. It has fallen off. Now, another thing I want to show you is that for that door thing here, we'll have to take that out. I don't know if it'll just pull out. Anyways, we'll take this panel off and we'll get in there. These things, sometimes they run positive or negative, and the unit is equipped with both sensors for both positive and negative, so we can use either one, it doesn't matter. Okay, so first thing you want to look for is a continual positive power. Now, in this line here, the red wire here, as you can see here, that is positive all the time. And then you need of course something that is positive only when the ignition is set to accessory. So that's another thing you'll want to look at. And you can just open the wires like that. First you want to use your probe, maybe punch it through with this little hole here, the little point here. But let's see. I mean, I've had these guys do the work for me, so I'm actually very fortunate. So I have my accessory here, I have my continual positive here, and I have my ground here. So actually, to do the installation, I just need to install those 3 wires onto the wiring harness of my unit that came with my wiring harness that came with my my GPS unit, this unit here, and we just got to put there's red and black there, just to show you those 2 wires there. All right, they're all both at one end, so they're easy to get to. You see them, one on top of the other. Now, to install this unit, that is all you need to install. Just find a place to wire tie up your GPS unit up inside. Anywhere, so, you can see it's small enough. It can fit just about anywhere where it'd be hidden and out of the way of people's eyes and stuff. So that's something I'll work on too. I mean, I'm not going to videotape my actual placing of it, but what I'll do is I'll come back and I'll show you what I've done. So for me, I'm going to wimp out. Yes, people, I'm going to wimp out instead of cutting new wires. Obviously, I'll use these 3 wires that I already have here. I'll use those to install them. What else do I want to do? Oh yeah, with the door alert for the door sensor. And then there's also for installing the other options like the sensor for the fuel gauge. What else was there? Of course, I have to go look at the friggin' manual, just find all the different things. But the accessory, the door door button, were the 2 things I did want to install today. And I'm going to talk to you about those ignition wires. Very important, so stay tuned. Okay, let me get this installed and I'll show you what I've done. Alright, so as you can see, I'm starting to tape up the wires. Grab them from the wiring harness here, down to the fuse. Alright, and then from there, you want to break off your wires. So for today's installation, we're going to be using the red, the black, the white, and the blue. So we continue on with those. I'll show you where we go. And then we get to a point where the blue is cut off. And if you look at your instruction manual, your wiring diagram, it'll show you that the blue is for the negative door trigger. Now, you'll want to figure that out first before you start picking the wires. Alright, so for mine it's blue, for yours it might be the, oh, it's another color there, maybe green? I have to look again. So then I continue on now, I've wired the 3 wires together. Alright, and then we get to a point where we have some, there we go, some loose wire at the end here. Alright, and then we'll wire this up to the 3 wires under the dash, and we're good to go for that part. The blue wire, I've already found out where my wire is. I'll show you. Okay, so I've found out that mine has 2 wires for the door plunger, well, for the door switch, alright, a red and a black. So the red is continual positive. I think that's the way I worked it. No, it's negative, sorry. These are both negative wires. One wire sends negative power, well, grounds out the switch, because the ground itself is not switched. In the old days, they used to just ground the switch on the body, and then the plunger would just push the ground on and off the plunger itself. So now there's the 2 wires. So you have to figure out which one sends the negative ground back to the sensor that chimes the door and everything. So for that, you take your tester, and first you try them on negative. Alright, so we'll ground this out on negative. Let's get out of here. Jeez, everything's in the way. Oh, now we got a wasp in here. Great throw. Alright, so you can see I got my oh, don't want that. Jeez, I can't get the zoom out anymore now. Alright, so here we go. So you can see I'm not getting no power here. Alright, the light's not coming on or anything. Touch the other wire and there's nothing. Alright, so we know that these are negative wires because the light didn't light up. So what we're going to do is we're going to find a positive wire here. Alright, I'm going to touch it to a ground, and you can see that it's working. So we have good contact. And now you're going to go and you're going to test your wires again, and they should both light up your tester. You see the tester lights up, the other wire lights up the tester. Perfect. Now what you want to do is press your plunger in, alright, and then test your wires again. Of course, I'm holding the camera with one hand, so this is going to be fun. Let's see if I can set this up here so you guys can watch too. There we go. Alright, so here, and you can, I think you can, I don't know, you can see the, I know I got all these wires in the way and I apologize for that. I'll just throw them up here for a minute. Alright, so test here, we have the light come on. Now we're going to push the plunger in and we'll test the wires again. Now this one, the red one, is not giving me power. I let go of the plunger on the door, the door switch, and the light comes on. I'll just hold my finger to it here. Okay, see? Push the door plunger in. Nothing. Okay. Oh, something. A light comes on. Then we go to the other wire. Then we push the plunger in. Let go. Push it in. Let go. Now you've noticed that the light never went out. So what that tells us is the black one is a constant ground, and the red one is what continues the loop after the switch. So that's going to be the wire we're going to want to connect our blue wire to, because our car works on a negative. So it'll send a negative, or it'll actually ground out that sensor wire. What I want to do was just show you quickly. I don't know that. There we go. So you can look at that, follow it, and see what wires go where, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay? You can pause the video there if you need to see more. So now that we've wired up our wire, you can understand why we left the blue one out a little more, so that we can wire it around other places. I've already stripped my wires off here, as you can see, for the installation of the positive, the ground here, and the accessory. Okay, to be careful because the red one is hot. All right, or live, however you want to call it. Now my antenna wires, I was lucky enough, I introduced them in the exact same place, or I placed them in the same place as the old ones were, so that all I had to do was tape them to the wires and fish them out from up under there. I think you can probably see maybe a little light or something coming out where I had to fish the wires up through. So it can be a bit of a pain, but you're gonna have to take some time. I mean, you don't necessarily have to put them there, but obviously the best place for the antenna wires is as close to the windshield, especially for the GPS one. All right, so let me get these wires connected and get the unit placed, and we'll get right back. All right, so once you have the unit installed, we have the wires hooked up to those 3 wires. We haven't done the door jamb wire yet, but you can see the light blinking. It's still looking for a GPS signal, which it probably won't find because the GPS antenna is still sitting in a cup holder. I haven't pulled the wires up inside yet. So we got a cell signal, so we can actually still communicate with the GPS unit. You can see where I've installed it. So if I do have to access it, I have my fuse close by here, which we'll put up in here. All right. So everything's going to be behind the panel. No, it's not a big secret place anybody can get to if they're going to steal the car. But if they're going to go to this much trouble to steal my truck, well, then I got insurance. You know, let's face it, they really want it. There's nothing really that's going to stop them. So let me finish up with that door jamb wire. And, oh, it does have a GPS lock. Look at that. And the antenna's sitting in the cup holder on my dash. So, you know they can get it from inside the truck. So, let me finish up and then we'll discuss it a little farther. Alright, so we got everything hooked up. This is the yellow wire I'm going to discuss with you. Very important. You see that the LED got green. So we have a GPS lock. Flashing red means we have the LSM lock. Okay, or GSM I should say. Alright, so I just had to wire up a few other wires that I had for switches. I want to discuss this yellow one because it was connected to this relay here. Okay, now it does say 40 amp, but I'm a little weary that this wire, red wire, it's not quite as big as that pink wire. All right, and that pink wire is probably the size that I'm going to need. And I've been looking around, and that could take up to 60 amps, that wire. So this relay won't be able to handle it. I don't want to take the chance. Since I don't have a meter to check current draw, I'm not going to fool with that until I get a proper relay. But there are other things you can do with that relay. In the event that your vehicle is stolen, you could hook it up to the output up to blue flashing lights in your backup lights, your little LEDs you could install there, or in your back window, or flash your headlights on and off, or something that'll distinguish your vehicle out of the rest in the traffic, so that police could find it easily and follow it easily. So that's one thing you could do. So that's about it. I wanted to make sure that you knew about that relay. Don't use it. Wait till you get something bigger. Alright, so job well done. Everything's installed. Works fine. You saw how it went in. It's a fairly easy job. Of course, it took me a little longer because I had to pull the other one out. You're looking at about an hour and a half. Take your time. There's no rush. Make sure you route your wires good. Wire tie them out of the way. Protect them from making contact with metal. Check your connections before you put everything away. Make sure that when you put your paneling back in, you're not squishing wires and the like. If you like this video, please subscribe. Put a like at the bottom, and if you have a comment, I definitely want to hear it. Anyways, thanks for watching.